That summer I found myself homeless, downsizing me snail shell from a flat to a travel bag, the rest of it going into me mum's garage. 5 pairs of socks and duds and 2 spare shirts, along with a toothbrush and a notepad. When everything else had slipped away, these were the essential props for me passage through the civilization I found myself living in. I went to visit me mate David Essex on the slow train that snakes along the north shore of the Thames Estuary to meet him after work. As we gathered pace over the East End sprawl, past Docklands lofts and decrepit gas towers, I felt an unexpected sense of elation. The feeling of becoming slowly unmoored and untethered again, me mind floating free with a tidal swell, flowing with a Cockney diaspora all the way downriver to the Essex coast. People shouted on mobiles in muscular African accents as the sprawl subsided and sank into the forlorn-looking marshes of the Essex hinterlands, peppered with huge petrochemical works, funnels and electricity pylons, messing up the toxic marshland horizon. I had 4 hours to kill before my mate finished his shift. Next stop, Grays, the train's posh sex android voice announced. A town in the thick of all this, called Grays. I've got to get a look, I thought, and jumped off the train a few stops early. I saw a sign for Grays Beach. Grays Beach? You've got to be kidding, I thought, and followed the signs to a riverside path, past towering structures resembling landlocked oil rigs stranded on a muddy shore. Less and less convinced, I followed the signs to a deserted, sandy kiddies' play area, nestled below this architecture at the end of the oil wars. Funnels and power grids and vast cylindrical drums dwarfed a spider's web climbing frame, a pirate ship, wet sand, and nobody at all to be seen. The low sub-bass rumble of the Chinese super freighter bringing in all this year's Christmas junk slid into dock like a shifting tectonic plate. The river seemed dangerously high, like it wanted to burst its banks and wash all this away, the inevitable corrective to our wasteful ways that surely must be coming.
What's that then, a sea bass?
Yeah, it's a sea bass, yeah. Do you want it?
No, I'm alright, mate.
I'll throw him back in then.
Grays eventually thinned out into nettles, thickets, and the slow lap-lap of the brown, mournful river. Something approaching a wilderness, and a path that was less and less a path. Wave hello to Mr. Magpie, I thought, as I crossed through a suicide grove of silver birches, towards the noise of something unimaginably huge being rhythmically shredded. A factory belching out fumes with the strongest smell of soap you ever smelt, soap so strong it could easily dispose of the evidence of a body like mine, out here in the Badlands, with no one ever the wiser. And then, the really strange and scary bit, St. Clement's, an ancient, squat little flint church brooding in the thick of it, a dirty, mossy Victorian graveyard sinking into the toxic ground. I had the strangest sense that a shadowy someone was catching up alongside me, but when I turned to look, no one there at all. I found out later the cemetery was a mass grave for a prison hulk that sank in a storm. The whole thing seemed perverse, evil almost. Life here is bracketed by a sandpit playground and a prison graveyard, both lost among leagues of industrial pipeline and belching funnels, and the constant subsonic background hum of the wheels of industry shearing at Europe's drop-off point. Keen to get away from that weird graveyard, I scrambled up a slip road, slipped, snagged my ankle, and hobbled to the last place you'd expect to find a shopping mall. I walked through glass doors that were a portal into another world. I walked, bamboozled, while the beautiful south played lullingly, numbingly in the background. I felt like Rip Van Winkle, suddenly woken up and cast into the rituals of an alien civilization. The thing that struck me the most, people. I hadn't seen any all day, and here they were in the thousands. Skinny school uniformed girls learning the art of shopping from their mothers. Old folks and the disabled relaxing at the seating islands, passing the time people watching. Lads with boy band haircuts, lads from Barrymore's pool. Maybe community's the wrong word. No, community's definitely the wrong word. There was comfort in the fact this mass of humanity came here to feel human again and enjoy its window of leisure/retail time. The neon signs for boots and body shops seemed to nurse and restore me. Krispy Kreme donut stores enticed me. Here was life again. I'd made it inside the castle walls of this strange estuarine civilization. And the hallmark of this civilization was that it was the land of plenty, the land of too much, the land of so much stuff that we're literally giving it away. A woman tried to corner me in free AA membership. I laughed and nearly said, "I can't drive, I walked here," but stopped when I realised I was suspect this most basic activity had seen to the natives. Tucked away behind the food court, I stumbled upon the Lakeside prayer room. It was the only room with no one in it. I went down the glass elevator, past the M&S, which was heaving, to meet David Essex, who was waiting for me, making a stovetop coffee beside his Mondeo in the car park for some reason. "I hate McDonald's," he said. After our coffees, we drove off up a feeder road, past the flat glow on the side of the giant Corp oblong where all the food comes from. I explained me wander round Gray's and what a strange day I'd been having. "Here, let's go to Tilbury." "You like Tilbury," he said. The boggy marsh itself seemed to sour as it approached this toxic place. The first we saw of Tilbury was the port of London's busiest dock. Thick concrete walls so high you only get odd glimpses of ships' funnels, and barbed wire fencing round hundreds of bright corrugated container units stacked like rusty Duplo bricks. Hundreds of units full of the stuff that makes the world go round, before it finally comes to rest, forgotten, at the back of me mum's garage. It got dark. Driving through these estuarine lands at night, the hinterlands of the Port of London, a vast city-sized tumour of oil drums, coal stores and distribution sheds. Here at the coordinate of optimum transit and distribution, the place where all things gather and disperse. In the news recently was the tragedy of a shipping container hiding 35 Afghani Sikhs, illegal immigrants fleeing for their lives, only to die or very nearly die in a corrugated container with no water or light or ventilation. It all only heightens the sense of a dark and vast mystery being revealed in glimpses here, the sense of terrible things happening behind wire fencing and oblique surfaces. The Thames has known everything, said Rudyard Kipling. London, the crucible of the free market, of deregulated global trade. The borough of Thurrock is the jaws of the beast, the result, the cost of this particular type of liberty. This stretch of the estuary has the air of a sacred site, in that it brings us face to face with the sublime. A certain unbearable intensity, the vastness of an unknowable something, the workings of an awesome and hidden hand. Here, at the world's end, we come face to face with the Leviathan. We look upon the deep in which he dwells, the mighty works that he has wrought.